Okay, so what we have in the United States right now in terms of navigation is this performance-based navigation system. Now, what it sounds like is that it's navigation based on the performance of the aircraft, but that's not true. What the performance-based navigation system that we have here in the United States is comprised of RNAV and RNP. Now, these are pretty much the same thing, but we're going to get to that here in a second. So RNAV is area navigation. This is exactly what you think about it. It's area navigation, and it's comprised of two things: ground-based stations and the GPS system. Now, ground-based stations, these are stuff like VORs and even outer markers and outer marker beacons and stuff like that. These are any ground-based station that helps the aircraft navigate. And then there's the global positioning system, which is comprised of satellites that, when there's enough of them, will be able to pinpoint an object in space if it's connecting to them, which means that we can get four-dimensional geolocations here on Earth, which allows us to navigate from point A to point B better and more accurately. Okay, so then what is this RNP system? So RNP is RNAV, that's why it's connected here. But RNP requires for extra equipment to be on board the aircraft and for training of the person operating said equipment. What's different between these, other than the equipment that's now required on the aircraft, is the accuracy that it has. RNAV in general is about 5 to 10 foot of accuracy, depending on, different situations and the age of the system that you're connected to. While RNP is about a 1 to 5 foot accuracy with the global positioning of GPS and other ground-based stations. This allows for aircraft to be on more precise instrument approaches and instrument plans that allow for them to fly closer to the ground and to fly more exactly what the instrument approach requires of the aircraft, so that we can fly even lower minimums, so that we're not as restricted by weather. As I said, this is the system that is currently implemented here in the United States and across the world, is this performance navigation system comprised of RNAV and RNP. Now, there is a push for it to all become RNP so that flights can become safer and more accurate and can fly in more adverse weather conditions. However, that being a positive, that this allows for aircraft to fly into weather and to be able to navigate the skies a lot easier. The downside is expense. RNP is a lot more expensive than just your basic RNAV system. However, even your just basic RNAV system is a lot more expensive than some of your basic navigational systems that are aboard, like your steam gauge aircraft and stuff. Now, are there cheap RNAV systems? Yes, like a VOR receiver is one of those things that's kind of a cheaper RNAV system. But that's pretty much just a ground-based station receiver that doesn't do anything with GPS. But that's the big con, is that this whole RNAV, this whole performance-based navigation system is very expensive to operate on the individual basis. It is accurate, it works, and it's, that's why we still have it, but it is expensive. But thank you, and that's it for me.
As Jason kind of already discussed in his presentation about performance-based navigation systems, there's a lot of different moving parts within the system itself. And when we look at the overall system, because that's what performance-based navigation systems are. Uh, they are both area navigation, RNAV, and required navigation performance, RNP, and it's um, both of these both contribute to performance-based navigation, giving the aircraft coverage of ground or space navigational aids within the limitations of the ground-based aids or the self-contained systems within the aircraft itself. Both of these give additional performance monitoring and alert capability, defining the characteristics, which are the defining characteristics of these systems. So when looking at the benefits of the system, we have a couple of different bullet points. It comes with increased positional accuracy, an increase in safety and awareness. It allows us for greater operational limits, mostly by this next point here, mitigating meteorological conditions. And it also, in the case of an emergency, provides additional information in the case of IFR flight to ground controllers who can get the resources to that aircraft as soon as they can. And when looking at the flip side of the coin, having both of these systems comes with additional required equipment on board the aircraft in order to properly utilize the PBN system. It's an additional electrical system that we're reliant on. So in the event of an emergency that you were to lose power, well, that's another system that's gone down that you can no longer rely on. It's expensive to get and install, right? There's two parts to it, the RNAV system and the RNP system, each of which have a bunch of additional equipment and are quite pricey to get and install on aircraft. And in some aircraft it's kind of not only unnecessary, but the aircraft itself can't support it and support its payload, especially in smaller general aviation aircraft, because of the additional weight that the systems, weight and space that these systems require in order to function properly. So we've talked a lot about the systems, but we haven't exactly, this is the next generation of navigational aids. When can we expect to see them? And the answer is right now. We've already kind of, especially in the bigger airliners, the bigger names like Delta, Southwest, American, they've already started implementing this performance-based navigation system. Right now, it's kind of focused at bigger airports. So currently, LA, Salt Lake, I believe, has theirs up and ready. New York, Orlando, Miami, a lot of the bigger airports have already started, and major airways have started implementing these systems, but it's slowly trickling down to smaller and smaller airports. So your Class Charlies, some of your Class Deltas, especially ones around the bigger airports, are starting to now support the performance-based navigation system. And they're being integrated a little more every day. Of course, the government only works so fast, but currently there is mixed service operations in effect, and according to the FAA, they're expected to reach up into 2030, and they'll be continuing to support mixed operations until the technology gets better and it's more reliable and affordable for general aviation aircraft. But the goal is by the 2040s to start seeing this performance-based navigation everywhere. So Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Today I'll be covering the FAA's Next Gen Satellite Navigation Program, focusing on what it is, how it's being implemented, its current status, benefits, and the pros and cons. So, GNSS stands for Global Navigation Satellite System. In the US, aviation primarily uses GPS, but the FAA adds an augmentation system to improve the accuracy and reliability. These systems include WAS, Wide Area Augmentation System, which corrects the GPS signals via satellites, GBAS, which is Ground Based Augmentation System, which provides high precision at airports, and ABAS, which is aircraft based like RAIM. This ensures that onboard safety checks of these systems. So, together, this enables more accurate flight paths and advanced approach procedures. What makes GNSS unique is how it supports performance based navigation. So it enables RNAV and RMP procedures, allowing a more precise flight track. And WAS even supports LPV approaches, which gives nearly the same precision of an ILS without needing the local ground equipment. GBAS is especially powerful as a single ground station can support approaches to multiple runways, and this reduces our reliance on older navigation systems. The FAA has already implemented WAS nationwide, but it continues to enhance the system. GBAS is in place at select airports, but it's further expanding. And according to the FAA's performance based navigation plan, the near time goal is to expand the RNAV and LPV approaches, while the mid to long term goal is to adopt a dual frequency and multi constellation GNSS to provide an even greater accuracy. So, as of now, WAS is fully operational across the continental US, Alaska, Canada, and even into Mexico. There are more than 150,000 aircraft that are equipped with WAS and thousands of RNAV and GPS approaches that are already published. GBAS is still in a limited rollout and it's available at certain airports. And there's work to continue to upgrade to a dual frequency capability. GNSS provides multiple benefits. It offers an accurate and reliable guidance, improving safety. Flights can use shorter and a more direct route, which saves time and fuel. And it also reduces emissions, which allows for smaller airports to also gain precision approaches and increase the frequency at busier airports. The efficiency at busier airports to support a more precise arrival and departure pathway. The pros include an even better efficiency, safety, and accessibility, while also reducing the need for expensive ground-based equipment. But on the other hand, it does have its challenges. So aircraft must be equipped with the right technology. The signals are vulnerable to interface, and GBAS requires upfront and infrastructure investment. So during the transition period, there's both the need for old and new systems which to be maintained, which adds to the complexity. So, to conclude this section of the presentation, GNSS is the backbone of the FAA's Next Gen Navigation System. WAS is fully operational and GBAS is expanding, but both play a significant benefit to the safety, efficiency, and the environment. So, with upgrades that are planned well into the 2030s, this will remain central as to how we navigate in the national airspace system.
Hi guys, my part of the presentation is on the Metroplex. So what is the Metroplex? So Metroplex is a large geographic area where many busy airports are located. These airports' flight operations may overlap or interact. Some examples of these Metroplex areas are the New York Metroplex, which includes JFK, LaGuardia, Newark, plus Teterboro, and a few others. So the Metroplex implementation timeline, it originally launched in 2010 to modernize airspace. The original goal was to finish all sites by 2017, and they ran into some delays like noise concerns, litigation, resource limits, and COVID-19. The key implementations were Denver, which was on schedule March 2020, Vegas, which was delayed and implemented February 2021, and then South Central Florida, which was phased in April through August of 2021. The final site was completed on June 22nd. The program ended September 22nd, and my takeaway is although the Metroplex finished 5 years later than expected, it helped redesign major procedures for those 11 areas. Some benefits of the program are improved efficiency, more direct RNF/RMP routes, reduced delays and bottlenecks, fuel savings, shorter and smoother routes, cut fuel burn by millions of gallons annually, reduce emissions, lower fuel use equals less CO2 and other pollutants, and etc. Some pros and cons. They had shorter, more direct routes, which means less fuel emissions, improved efficiency and reduced delays, and enhanced safety with standardized procedures. Cons, implementation finished 5 years late, and increased community noise concerns. And that's all I have on the Metroplex.